All right. So I hope everything is fine, right? I paused it and started it again. What you should see is this, this news that the net foreign investments fell to minus $11.7 billion in March 26 as foreign portfolio investors pulled out more money from India than FDI inflows. So foreign portfolio investors are those who invest in the Indian stock market. FDI, foreign direct investment, is that money that goes into setting up subsidiaries, setting up factories, et cetera, et cetera. So that's not in the stock market. That's actual production, employment, companies, infrastructure. And FPI outflows have increased in excess of the FDI inflows, right? So that's putting a pressure on the Indian rupee in terms of the more dollars leaving and continuing to uh, just exit the market on a very dramatic basis, which has not happened for a long time. So this is the reason why the Nasdaq India index is actually showing a bigger fall. So 80 rupees to a dollar, the investor invests and then gets out at 90, 95, 97 rupees to a dollar. Obviously, the foreign exchange hit, right? So very important key lessons to be learned in these situations, right? All right. So those are very good examples from Asia, right? Now, just to continue that, going back to the West into South America, right? We should look at how things are in Brazil, right? So again, this is the Bovespa, and this is the weekly chart. And okay, let's go to the monthly chart here so that we get the longer term picture, right? So this is the monthly chart of Bovespa from 2018. So that's long enough. And you can see that this is how, in local currency terms, the Brazilian market has behaved. But in terms of the dollar terms, you can see that there was a high that was created now. Is that a life high? I'm not sure. That's definitely not a life high. There was a higher high. But this is not the entire history. This is just Nasdaq Brazil since 2013, but there is more history before that. So I'm not sure how things were. And just to go back to the Brazilian index, you can see that there is more history. Okay, 2013 and in the past. So it's from 2005 onwards, right? Now you can see that the Brazilian Nasdaq Brazil has really done uh, quite poorly in terms of, so we are, it is not peaked, but I'm just taking this as a peak of 1,100. You're now at about 780, right? Versus the Brazilian, in the Brazilian terms, it has actually gone up, right? So you'd be like, what's going on in terms of dollar terms? If you look at the Mexico market, this is the Merval, which is the main index for Argentina, right? And this is the life high, was there not so long back in July of, oh, sorry, this is for some reason I didn't notice this, that index is old. Oh, this index is also, this is fine. So this should not be used because this is only till 2020. Just let me remove that. Just notice that right now. Okay. So this is the Argentinian General Index, just assuming that this is again in the local currency. And you can see that it's done extremely well, rise of 3,000%. And this is basically because the Argentinian currency has really collapsed, right? And in terms of, okay, I don't have Argentina in dollar terms, right? So that's something that for me to look at. But 3,000%, 30x, 31x increase is not because of economic growth for sure. No economy grows like that. This is because of a devaluation of the Argentinian currency massively. And this is the lesson to learn, that when devaluations happen, then you don't keep your money in that currency. You keep it in a hard asset or an asset whose purchasing power remains the same and the price can go up. This is an extremely important economic lesson, financial lesson that must be used at a personal level, right? And this is something that even us Indians should be something, or anybody, if you are in, say, Sri Lanka, you're in Pakistan, you are in India, you are in South America, India especially, in the last 6 months, the way the Indian currency has depreciated, you need to put that money of yours in something that is going to increase in value and not drop, right? One of the things, apart from, say, real estate or gold or hard assets or metals and all that, is thinking about putting it in the market. And you can see this same phenomenon in Turkey, in the Egyptian exchange, which has again a massive devaluation of the Egyptian currency. So any economy where you see the currency has gotten massively devalued, you will see that the market has been going up by that and more, to because that's what retains purchasing power, not the currency. The currency is becoming worthless. So people are looking for assets where to put their money in. It's a longer discussion, but this is something to be taken to heart. Right. All right. Mexico, that is something that, again, just to point out, so that's Mexico in dollars now. And look at how different that chart is from Mexico in its own currency, right? In dollar terms, you have not made much money, or actually now you have, okay? So this would be a breakout that happened, right? And if I remember correctly, I think this was partly triggered by the new president in Mexico, and I think she sort of patched up with Trump, and there was something that was going on there. And yeah, give me feedback. Then coming to FTSE Chile again. This is I'm assuming this, this is also Chile, Nasdaq Chile, and this is FTSE Chile. I'm just assuming that this is in the local currency, what you're seeing right now, and this is in dollar terms, right? Though both are saying point. So you can see that as a foreign investor, this is something that is crucial and to be kept in mind. And if you don't keep this, then your returns, if you're looking at the wrong chart, or if you don't understand the base currency in which you are seeing the doing the analysis and the base currency in which you are investing, then things can get really, really messed up, right? So I'm sure that many of the audience here already know this, but again, as a matter of abundant caution, because in my circle, there are more and more people who are interested, are already investing globally, but also interested, more and more people are interested in investing globally, especially given the weakness that is there in India right now. And that brings me to the point that if you look at coming back to India, just to make the point for the Indian audience or the NRI audience, that if you look at just the Nifty, it's one thing, but if you look at the Nasdaq India, that's a very different thing. But more to the point, if you are a global investor, if you are an NRI, if you are an Indian investor, the opportunities are definitely much, much better abroad. Again, US, China, Taiwan, South Korea are the places to look at. And other places are probably just something to avoid right now. Just to more for completion's sake, and also to understand how things are going in some other part of the world, we move to the Middle East, right? So here is the Middle East, and what you see here, I'm going to come back to the monthly index here, right? So Saudi Arabia is still away from its life high. It's amazing that that it has one more of those indices, just like China also, right? Just not gone there yet. And when will it do that? Really have no idea, but it's quite a distance away from that. So in spite of the Vision 2030, which has definitely been a stimulator, we don't really have a great up move. But what is of note as far as Saudi Arabia, the Tadawul exchange, and this again something that is to be understood, that it didn't really crack in the face of the Iran, Israel, US conflict, right? And if you look at how the FTSE Abu Dhabi exchange did, if you look at the Dubai exchange, right, these all have gone up. And if you look at the Qatar exchange, which have fallen much more than the Saudi exchange. Two reasons. One, basically because of the size of the Saudi economy, but much more because the Saudi the conflict did not really affect the weapons, the drones, and all of that. They were more targeted on the eastern side to all these other Gulf countries, right? So if you were looking for a resilient market within the Middle East, then Tadawul would be the one. And looks like from this setup, you're looking at rectangle, you're looking at clear tops and bottoms, and you're looking at just a consolidation more than anything else. Once this gets over, then the Saudi market could is something that could go up. And just to close, that the Saudi market is quite far from its life high of 2006, almost a double. It'll have to go up almost by 100% if it ever does that. For now, no signs that it is going to do anything. It's just going sideways. But if a breakout does happen, watch for it. And of course, we plan to keep doing these webinars. And when it does happen on the chart, we will talk about it. But basically, you're looking at a breakout above 11,600 on the Saudi exchange, right? Great. So with that, I hope it's been informative and insightful for everybody. And we'll see you on the other side on the next IMR, which we will have the global market review when something happens, right? Or we might do it next weekend. So again, thank you very much for your participation and looking forward to your feedback. You have my information on the screen and really appreciate you listening all through. Thank you and have a great week ahead.